Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. I am excited for this one. We're going to dive into the body today. And why would you want to include your body in the creation of your business? And what is that anyway? What does that look like? How do you do it? And what's the value of it? And because this isn't something that is talked about in the world, really. The body is kind of a separate thing, and to me, that's if I didn't include my body in creating my business and creating my life, I would be very far from where I am now, not in a good way. so, um, but it's one of those things that it's not like you learn in business school or you learn in, college or you learn anywhere in the world how to have a relationship with your body and how to include it in the things that you choose and in the things that you create. And this is, a big topic. So this is a conversation that it's going to be woven through this whole podcast and, not just this episode, but the whole entrepreneurial biome ongoing conversation. Because it's something to me that I'm actually very passionate about. And I have a lot of awareness of and a lot of, experience with. And I also see it as one of the big missing elements in people's businesses. Even if you have a really financially thriving business, a really profitable business, um, you may not have a sense of profit with your body, a sense of profitability with your body, and having, this ever expanding reality with your body. Um, I at a very early age, I had some major body things go on when I was a teenager. Very severe reactions to some pharmaceutical medications I was taking, and uh, my body showed me very early on in my life, how it felt about all of that, and that I would be far better off if I listened to my body and let it do what it knows to do, and let it, be the brilliance that it actually is. And there were all these medical things, like I had been taking this one particular medication for something, and it wasn't even really necessary. And then I had this huge reaction to it. I had all the symptoms of a brain tumor, but I didn't have a brain tumor. And then they tried to medicate me to deal with that medication and get it out of my system. And then I reacted to that. And it was just my body's way of going, hey, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't need pharmaceuticals. That's not my thing. I am far greater than that. I'm far more capable than that. And let me show you. Let me take you by the hand and show you. So that was the beginning for me of my body being very loud and speaking to me in a way that I couldn't ignore. I mean, I was literally like taken out. I was, on the couch for weeks and in excruciating pain, and there was a lot of crazy stuff that went on around that. So, I'm really grateful actually for that experience, because my body showed me something that it was so loud and so clear. And I think we've all had those moments, where we have that sense of, our body's just basically shutting down, or, maybe you get sick and you can't do, maybe you've gotten so stressed out that you get sick and your body just goes, you're going to lay on the couch, or you're so stressed out that you have ongoing health issues. Those are the obvious ways in which our bodies speak to us in a way that is very loud, very clear, and very obvious that what we're doing isn't working. Now, a lot of people actually don't even really pay attention, even when it's that obvious. They go to the doctor, they look for pills, they look for something to try to make the symptoms go away so that they can get on with their lives. And that's how it works in this culture, in our culture, is, just handle the symptoms, take a pill or five, and or have a surgery, and move on, and you'll be fine. you know But what the thing that is really missing from that is the sort of like consultation, the seeking the input of your body, acknowledging that your body is actually giving you input about your life and your living and your business, and actually including that in what you do and what you create. Because when we do that, it's amazing what can show up and how dynamically our bodies can contribute to creation. But again, this is why I'm doing this podcast and why I'm doing all the things that I'm doing, because this is a conversation that for me, like, really needs to be had in the world. And so I was basically forced by my body at the ripe age of 17 to listen to it. And from then on, I kind of, I still continued to it actually, because I had been on antibiotics for 2 years, and it destroyed my gut, it destroyed my immune system, it destroyed a lot of systems that were healthy in my body prior to that. And the funny thing is, I was actually taking the antibiotics for acne. I didn't even have acne that bad. I was just a vain 17-year-old girl who didn't want to have any pimples. And I was like, Mom and Dad, can we do something? And they're like, yeah, take this pill. The dermatologist says, take it. So I believed, that it was safe. And my body went, nope. Mm-mm. So it wasn't even a necessary thing. And I had no idea what antibiotics did. I had no idea how incredibly impactful they could be, especially taken over a 2-year period of time. And one of the things that I started to do after that, when I got kind of like into my 20s, when I graduated from college, I had become a vegan. I had read this book, Diet for a New America, an age-old, kind of vegan classic, and I was appalled by how he portrayed the treatment of animals, and I was like, I'm going vegan because of the animals. I did it because I cared about animals. I didn't even think about my health. And there was this major transformation in my health during that time. So many things started to heal and come back online, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even realize. And this was in my early 20s. I didn't realize how compromised my body had been still from those 2 years of antibiotics. So it was this beautiful, moment where my body was like, hey, look what I'm capable of if you really, treat me well and you feed me beautifully and all that stuff. And I'm not vegan still. I've been through many phases and different ways of eating over the years, and, but it's all been from listening to my body. And I was forced to so many times because I have a sensitive body, let's just say, a very aware body, a very demanding body. And she talks very loud and clear. And um, so it's been something that I've dealt with for a long time. And one of the curiosities I started to have was, wait a minute here, what if my what if my body could get greater every day? And I had been on this path of kind of healing it and changing it and seeing, oh, if I do this, that's a contribution, my health gets greater. Oh, and then I can do this and my health gets greater. Oh, I feel fantastic. I didn't know I could feel this fantastic. And that was that was all in my 20s and 30s. I was still doing a lot of healing from this major event that I had as a teenager. And still unwinding a lot of that. But so the more I, dove into it, I was like, wow, my body really can get greater every day. And even as I got into my 40s and now I'm in my 50s, my body continues to get greater every day. And I continue to listen to it and pay attention and, like, follow what it asks. And I'm way better about knowing what that is and knowing how to kind of decipher what it's asking for and how to receive the cues that it gives me, because I've put decades and and I mean, it's been something I've been doing for most of my life, really, is listening to my body because I was actually really forced to. And thank goodness, so grateful. Um, and so, how does this, play into the creation of your business? And, if you're new to this podcast, we're all new to this podcast because it's the second episode. But for me, business is your whole life. It's really, we want to look at everything when we look at business. And we also look at business, like the thing, otherwise known as your business, right? The thing that you do as an entrepreneur, for money and how you spend a lot of your time. And so, but I like to take a broad sweep when it comes to the topic of business and include your life, include your relationships, and because all these other pieces factor into the health of our business, which is the entrepreneurial biome. That's what the biome is the health of the biome, the ecosystem of your business, this major life area. That's a definition of a biome that I love. A major life area, an area on the planet where there's so much life occurring and contributing to itself, and each other, like the different forms of life contributing to each other. So, if we're looking from the perspective of the entrepreneurial biome, your business cannot exist in isolation, nor should it, nor should you, desire it to. Because if you would like for it to get greater, bigger, more profitable, you've got to look at the whole biome. And that's what these conversations are about. So, with our bodies, our bodies give us a lot of feedback. And so if you're, going back to what I talked about in the beginning, if you're stressed out, your business is, you're working a lot, let's say you've got a lot going on, and your business is, your body starts to get compromised from it. Instead of that, the first thing I basically want to invite you to, and this will be also part of the ongoing conversation of the entrepreneurial biome, is to get curious about what it is that your body is telling you. So if you're sick, if you have a migraine, if you are in pain, if you can't walk, if there's so many things that our bodies do. Or if you just feel a little off, or maybe you start to get really aware and sensitive of your body, and you just are like, whoa, man, I feel a little anxiety, or like my heart feels like it's kind of like, clenching, like my, heart space, basically, not the organ of your heart. But, or like for me, I have had this like hip thing or a neck thing, or, so it shows up in lots of different ways that our bodies give us feedback. And they also give us a lot of feedback with pleasure. That does tend to be something we don't pay as much attention to, but we will get more into that as we go as well. If your body gives you feedback of any kind, and now let's just kind of isolate the not so enjoyable kind of feedback, because, and it does that it's a very good way of getting our attention. I want to give you, the first tool I want to give you is to ask your body, it's like, get present with your body, take a moment, have a seat, take a breath, just give yourself, sometimes we feel like we can't even do that, 30 seconds is a long time when you're going to just get present with yourself, or a minute, set a timer for a minute. It's a long time. Get present and just ask your body, hey body, what is this? What is this? What are you trying to tell me? What are you showing me here? And see what you notice. Like, and you may get, like, for me, sometimes it comes through in the form of like different sensations in my body, or it's almost like my body kind of talks to me. I might get like a cognitive awareness of something that isn't really thinking. I'm not a huge fan of thinking our way into something different, and we will talk more about that as we go. I'm more a fan of awareness and intuition and your gut feeling about things, which doesn't involve your mind. So when we think, we get into a lot of trouble. Let's just say that, and we'll leave that as a story for another time. So, you know, just check in and see what shows up. See what shows up, and um, I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've actually been in a time where there's been a lot of pain going on in my body. I'm like, hey, body, what's up? What do you need? And then it's my body kind of just starts to talk to me, and it's like, hey, can we have a minute here? Can we rest for a minute here? Can we kind of like slow down a little bit? Can we relax a little bit? I need some space. And the amazing thing is that our bodies kind of like they're sort of like this compass needle, and they point us in a particular direction. And it could be a more kind of a general direction that your body's pointing you in, but they do point us in a particular direction. And as they do, if we actually follow that and we see that as the wisdom of the body gifting us something, like actually gifting us the awareness of where our business could go, um, or what's required in order to have greater ease, greater productivity, a different reality with our staff, a different reality with our money flows and profitability, a different reality with how you manage your time. There's so many different ways that this shows up, but the body speaks. It really does speak. And as Bethel van der Kolk says, who is a trauma therapist, the body keeps the score. He has this book called The Body Keeps the Score. And some of the people that I studied with 30 years ago, 25 years ago, actually were some of the first people that introduced him to to the body-centered point of view, like a somatic body-centered point of view, that everything does kind of get stored in our bodies. And because of that, we can go to the body for the unraveling of it. And I will go more into this as well in future episodes, because there's a lot of pieces about the nervous system that I want to bring to these conversations that will be, I think, help kind of with all of our understanding of what happens. Because I have a lot of background in working with trauma and working neurologically with people to help their bodies to unwind that. But for now, let's just say the body keeps the score. Your body, it can hold on to things. It's very aware of things. It kind of like create some realities or sensations or organize itself around what it's aware of. Your body might be aware of the earth. It might be aware of other bodies that are in pain. Like our bodies are these incredible, they're kind of like these psychic sensate organisms that have a consciousness of their own. And you start to see this when you start to pay attention to what your body's telling you and the cues that it's giving you. You start to notice, oh wow, like this thing is really pretty cool. You're smart, and that's, if there's any motivation, or if you need any like reason or justification for listening to your body more with your business, that would be it, because it's constantly talking to you. So you may as well listen, and you may as well not see it as a problem. This is a big piece, is that people see what their bodies are doing and generating and all that as a problem. And when you see it as a problem, you there's nothing you can receive from it. It's like, this is a problem, I need to fix it. And you end up like shutting down the body. So if you had a child that was crying, because it was like, say, my little boys, like, I have two teenage boys. They're almost 16 and 18. But when they were young, if they would hurt themselves, they'd come crying, and it'd be very clear, like there was something going on that needed to be handled. But, and you would, well, hopefully I would never see a crying child and tell it to shut up. I'd investigate. I'd go, hey, what's going on? Oh, he broke his bone, or something like that, like that. We had a lot of broken bones. My boys are very active. So we went through this phase where we had a lot of broken bones. I'm like a broken bone expert. um, and so you would never do that to a child, right? But we do that to our bodies all the time. We're like, take a pill, shut up. I don't want to deal with you. Just shut up because I need to do my thing. So I like to invite you to a different reality with your body. One of intimacy. And what is intimacy? Honoring your body, having gratitude for it, having allowance for it, having vulnerability with it, and trusting it. Those are from the Access Consciousness 5 elements of intimacy. So I will dive more into that. There's all kinds of future episodes being created here today. So you'll have to just keep tuning in. But that's a whole conversation in and of itself. It's a lot of conversations, actually. But what I would like to invite the world to with this podcast, that's one of the big things, is actually cultivating the elements of intimacy, cultivating intimacy with your body. Because when you have that, you trust that your body is actually giving you information that's relevant to you. It's relevant to your business. It's relevant to what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're creating it. You're willing to have the vulnerability to have your barriers to your body be lowered, like, so you're not braced against it. You're vulnerable with it to receive what it is that your body is telling you. And you also, there's gratitude for the messages that your body gives you, even those of pain. There's allowance, meaning we don't judge our bodies, which is a huge one. Also will be a lot of that woven through these podcasts. And a sense of honoring of our bodies. So really honoring what it is that the body is asking for. So I had a day the other day where my body was like, hey, I need some space, and it was one of those moments where my body was having a lot of intensity, a lot of pain and intensity, just like, I wouldn't even call it pain, but just like there was a lot going on, and my body needed some care, and I do a thing, which I will also talk about, with my schedule, where I actually honor me and my body with my schedule and how I create my schedule, and I carve out chunks of time for me and my body. And sometimes I carve out entire days for me and my body. So I had a day with me and my body, and I didn't have anything on my schedule, so I didn't have anything that I needed to do. And I was able to really be present with my body, take care of it. I went to the chiropractor, and the amazing thing was I was on the chiropractic table. I have a beautiful chiropractor that he's in Denver. If anybody wants to know, he's amazing. And he does a very different type of chiropractic, which is very much about these things that I'm talking about, like very honoring of the body. It's not about cracking your bones. It's about listening and responding and giving input and listening, and, beautiful, beautiful work. And I was on the table, and I started getting all these downloads of things that I could create with my business. And it was like, oh, you could do this, you could do this. Oh, you need to check and see if this URL is available, and you could do this, you could do this, and this. Well, that's not an uncommon experience for me. I have that actually quite a bit, where I go for a hike, I get ideas about my business. I go get a massage or whatever. I get ideas about my business. And I've been reading a lot lately. I mean, this is just something that I've always known is true for me. I've been reading a lot lately, and there's some really cool books. One of them is called Deep Work by Cal Newport, I believe his name is. Really great book. It's kind of dry, I must say, but brilliant stuff in there about how to really create some space for you to deepen into what it is that you're creating. and another one called Essentialism by Greg McKeown, I believe his name is. Similar but different. But they both talk in these books about how, you don't you're not going to be your creative dynamic self when you're sitting at your computer hammering out emails all day. That's not how that works. Creativity does not come out of busyness. It comes out of space. It comes out of relaxation. It comes out of the willingness to be so different that we care for ourselves and we care for our bodies. And this is where you can go from being a busybody to being a dynamically innovative, creative creature, but you've got to give yourself the space for that. And there's accounts of people in history and even current, like very very well known current public figures that take weeks at a time to contemplate and all of that stuff. And that's a lot of where their big ideas come from. And so it's a very kind of commonly practiced, well, maybe not super common, let's make it more common, but it's something that's practiced by a lot of people, and it tends to yield some very dynamic results in terms of what you can create. And I would say it also yields some very dynamic results in terms of how resourced you are to show up to create, because that's another piece that maybe we'll talk about this next time, is having your body being resourced so that you can show up as your greatest self. You've got all your, you've got your A game, you're on your A game. And the creation goes to a whole different level when you do that. And some people do that through, working out. They eat well. So those are all some things that, a lot of very successful entrepreneurs tend to do. They take care of their body. They have a fitness routine. They have a, healthy eating routine, all that stuff. I'm inviting you to take that. And maybe you do that. Maybe you don't. If you don't, let's talk about that too. But I'm inviting all of us, the world, to take it to a completely different, way greater level. And that is actually employing your body in the business of your life, consulting your body in the creation of your business. And yeah, if you work out, you have a movement regimen, that's going to be amazing. If you eat in a way that your body would like to eat, not in a way that, the world tells you should eat, you got to listen to your body. Because, I said I was vegan. I was vegan for 4 years. My body loved it. And then it was time to add some dairy into my diet. I was working out a lot. I was dancing a lot. And my body was like, I need some fat, please. So I started adding dairy, and then I was going to get pregnant. I was very depleted. I added meat back. That changed everything. So I'm always listening to what my body requires with food, never doing it from a place of the assumption of what's healthy. I'd like to live in a world where we threw that out, quite honestly, and just said, yes, we have ideas about this, but what is true for your unique body right now? Because there are times when my body wants a lot of meat, or it doesn't want a lot of meat. There's times where it really, really actually requires sugar, like sugar, and I give it sugar, and it's actually so much more grounded and happy and relaxed. So there's a whole way that you can tune into what is true for your body. And a lot of that has to do with getting out of judgments of food. Also, a story for another time. Somebody needs to write all this down and tell me all the things that I said I was going to talk about later, because I won't remember. So I will. We do have somebody doing that, so that's great. But your body has a brilliance that most of us, our bodies have a brilliance that most of us have never experienced, never seen, never even considered. And it is when we listen to them. So here's the kind of takeaways of this particular conversation. If there's something going on with your body that is intense, painful, whatever, sickness, things like that, please refrain from judging your body. Refrain from judging it as, I hate this, I don't want this, I need to get rid of this, I need to change this. Please pause before you go there. Instead, go to, hey, body, what are you trying to tell me? What are you showing me here? Where is the compass needle pointing that your body is, where is it pointing you? What's the direction it's pointing you in? And you might not get an answer right away or an awareness. I tend to prefer to think of it as awareness, but you might not get an awareness right away. But you will begin to have more awareness as you go, and the more time you take to not be tapping keyboards, phones, and the more you kind of play with how you want to work that into your schedule and, being a little bit more diligent and aware of all of those choices that you make with your time. There's a fly in my room. that the more you're going to be able to listen to your body and get vulnerable with it and start to discover those messages that it's giving you. If you follow that, I have never, ever followed something that my body desired for me to do and had it create less for me in my business and my life. Never, ever. My business has grown. I talked about this on the first episode. It's grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. Never, none of that was from trying to push myself harder, work harder, force myself. It's all been about relaxing. Now, am I good at doing that? Not necessarily. I'm getting better all the time. Because I always have to remind myself of this. But when I get like spun out and busy, my business actually suffers. When I get spacious and relaxed and I listen to my body and I care for my body, my business expands. It's kind of amazing. And, like I said, there's a million more conversations to be had about this because there's so many complexities to this. There's so much information available and things that we can talk about. And I wonder what the fly is trying to tell me. So, stay tuned because there will be more. But for now, I would say takeaways, like 3 takeaways. Get out of judgment of anything that's going on with your body. Pause, take a breath, take a moment, set a timer, 1 minute, 5 minutes, whatever you can spare. Sit with your body, get present, ask the questions, and then whatever you get is going to contribute to your body having more ease. Go do it. Go do it and see what shows up. See how that makes your business thrive. You institute that over time, your business will thrive so much more than you think it will. And I want to just add one other little sort of piece here because this isn't about being gluttonous. This isn't about, oh, my body wants to drink a bunch of cocktails and eat myself into oblivion and, like watch movies for 5 days, sometimes it is a deep, long rest is definitely required. And I love cocktails. I think cocktails are really fun. I make great cocktails. I do it very, very, very much in moderation because my body doesn't really enjoy tons of alcohol at this point. But I'm a big fan of beautiful craft cocktails. So, I would never tell you not to, unless your body doesn't desire it. And then it's, you do what you do, but not a great idea to do things, put things in our body and do things with our bodies that they don't desire. But it's not about gluttony. It's about actually what's going to create more for my body here right now. This aspect of the biome. Let's say for the purposes of this conversation that when you feed your body with what it's actually asking for, the true responsiveness and kindness and generosity that you can be with your body, you are amending the soil of the biome in a massive way. You're up leveling the soil so dynamically, which creates growth and greater health in all of the plants and the trees and all other aspects of the biome. You know, I mean, not that one thing like ripples out into so many different pieces. So when you care for your body, that's basically what you're doing. So put that in the hopper, take it into consideration, and see where you go with it. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, I'd love to see your comments if you want to share some ahas or what pops for you. You can also always contact me and my team at info@heathernichols.com. Or through the form on our website, my website, heathernichols.com. I love to hear from you and just hear how it's going. So, stay in touch, and there will be more. So thank you so much for being here and for listening, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.